Before we begin, imagine this. You're standing alone on a prehistoric shoreline. The air is heavy. The ground is warm beneath your feet. Somewhere in the distance, a dinosaur calls out deep, echoing, powerful. This is the world most people think they understand. A world ruled by dinosaurs, but that belief is incomplete. Because what you don't see is what made this world truly terrifying. Not the creatures walking in front of you, but the ones waiting where you can't look, beneath the water, inside the shadows. Because the age of dinosaurs was not just ruled by dinosaurs, it was shared with other predators. Creatures just as evolved, just as efficient, and in some cases far worse. Mosasaurus, the silence beneath you. Now step forward, into the water. At first, it feels calm. The surface barely moves. Sunlight reflects gently. Nothing seems wrong. But the ocean doesn't warn you. It hides things. And somewhere below you, something is already aware of your presence. This is Mosasaurus. Not a dinosaur, something else. Something built entirely for the ocean. 50 feet of muscle and motion. A body designed not to walk, but to glide through water with terrifying precision. And jaws that don't just bite, they close like a system. Rows of teeth angled inward. And deeper inside, another set waiting to pull prey further in. This isn't just feeding, it's control. Now imagine you're a smaller marine reptile, swimming, unaware. Then suddenly, the light above you disappears. A shadow moves upward, fast, too fast. You turn, but it's already there. Jaws open, water explodes, and in less than a second you're gone. No struggle, no escape. Just silence again. Sarcosuchus, where thirst becomes a trap. Now leave the ocean. The land feels safer. It has to be. Imagine the heat of midday. A dinosaur walks for miles. Dry ground, no shade. Then finally a river. Still water. Peaceful. Relief. But prehistoric rivers were never what they seemed. Because under that surface, something has been waiting longer than you've been alive. This is Sarcosuchus. And it does not chase. It does not rush. It waits. 40 feet of armored patience. Now picture the moment. A dinosaur lowers its head to drink. The surface barely ripples. Everything is quiet. Then impact. The water explodes upward. A massive jaw slams shut. The force is immediate, violent, unavoidable, and before the dinosaur can even react, it's already being dragged down. Into the water, into the silence, gone. Pliosaurus, the bite that ends everything. Now go deeper, far from shore, where light fades. Out here, there are no landmarks. No warnings, just open ocean, and something built to dominate it. This is Pliosaurus. If Mosasaurus was speed, Pliosaurus was force, a massive head. Thick jaws, teeth built not to hold but to destroy. Once it decides to attack, it doesn't need a second attempt. Just a sudden burst forward and then impact. A bite so powerful that it doesn't leave room for resistance. And then stillness again. Violence followed by silence. By now, you should feel it. That quiet tension. That constant sense that something is always watching. Because dinosaurs were never the full story. They were just the most visible part of it. Land, water, sky. Each one ruled by something different. Each one hiding its own version of death. And if you were alive back then, survival wasn't about avoiding dinosaurs. It was about understanding that danger could come from anywhere, at any time, without warning. And we've only seen the beginning. Because in the next part, we leave the water behind and step into a different kind of fear. Hunters that didn't need size to dominate, and something that attacked from the sky. You don't realize it at first. That something is wrong, because everything looks normal. Wind moving through ancient trees, distant sounds echoing across open land. Life continuing the way it always has. But then you feel it. That strange sensation, like something is watching you, not from one direction, from everywhere. This is the part no one talks about. The part where you stop being an observer and start becoming part of the food chain. Pulmonoscorpius, the shadow that moves without sound. You're not in open land anymore. You're inside a dense, prehistoric forest. The ground is soft, covered in layers of decay, and visibility? Almost nothing. Every step feels uncertain, and that's exactly where it wants you. This is Pulmonoscorpius, not massive like a dinosaur, not loud, not dramatic, but that's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't need attention. It needs proximity. Now imagine this. You stop for a second, just to listen, and in that silence, something shifts. Barely noticeable. Behind you. You turn, nothing, but it's already closer. Because Pulmonoscorpius doesn't chase in open space. It uses the environment, darkness, stillness, timing. Then comes the moment. A sudden strike, fast, precise, a sting that hits before your brain even registers movement, and then it steps back. Because it doesn't need to fight, it just needs to wait, and whatever it injected will finish the rest. Zephactinus, the predator that swallows you whole. Now imagine water again, but not calm, not peaceful. This time, it feels unpredictable, alive in a different way. Something beneath the surface is moving fast, too fast. You don't see it clearly, just flashes, shadows, speed. Then suddenly, it breaks through. This is Zephactinus, a fish that doesn't behave like one. Long body, massive jaws, teeth designed not to tear, but to hold. Because this predator doesn't take pieces, it takes everything. Now picture another creature swimming nearby, unaware, calm. Then in a single burst impact, no struggle, no tearing, because Zephactinus doesn't attack multiple times. It swallows, whole. There are fossils of this creature found with entire prey still intact inside its body. That's how fast it worked. That's how final it was. Caprisuchus, the one that runs toward you, now leave the water. And forget everything you know about crocodiles. Because this one doesn't wait. This is Caprisuchus. And it changes the rules. You're walking across dry land. Open terrain. You feel safe. Because danger should come from hiding places, from water, from shadows. But not this time. Because this predator doesn't hide, it charges. Caprisuchus had long, powerful legs, built not just for movement, but for speed. And its teeth? Sharp, protruding, almost like blades sticking out of its mouth. Now imagine seeing it, not lurking, not waiting, running straight at you, fast, aggressive, relentless. There's no time to react, no time to process, because everything about this creature breaks your expectations. And in this world, the moment something behaves differently than expected is the moment you die. Ending when survival stops making sense. At this point, Fear changes. It's no longer about size or strength or distance, because now you understand something deeper. This world doesn't follow rules. Creatures don't behave the way you expect them to. Some wait, some strike, some chase. Some don't even give you time to realize what happened. And that's what makes this world truly terrifying. Not the monsters you see, but the ones that change the rules completely. And what comes next is even worse, because in the final part, we're going into creatures that don't even feel real. At this point, you've seen enough to understand one thing: this world was never safe. But what you're about to see now goes beyond predators, because some creatures didn't just hunt. They changed the environment itself. They changed the rules of survival. And some don't even feel like animals. Anomalocaris, evolution's first experiment. Now go back, further than dinosaurs, further than anything familiar, to a time where life itself was still figuring things out. And in those ancient oceans, something appeared that didn't follow any modern design. This is Anomalocaris. At first glance, it doesn't even make sense. A soft, segmented body with large compound eyes. Two strange appendages extending from its head, like claws from another world. And a circular mouth lined with plates. Not teeth, plates. This wasn't just a predator. This was one of the first complex hunters Earth ever created. Imagine being one of the early creatures in that ocean. No defenses, no awareness, no experience with something like this. And then it appears, not fast like modern predators, but unfamiliar, unpredictable. And that's what makes it dangerous, because survival isn't just about strength. It's about recognition. When you can't understand what's attacking you, you've already lost. Camaraceras, the silent depths. Now move forward again, into deeper waters. Not the surface, but the deep, where light disappears, where everything slows down, and something massive waits without moving much at all. This is Camaraceras, a long cone-shaped predator, almost like a living spear drifting through the dark, deep ocean. No loud movements. No dramatic attacks, just positioning and timing. Imagine swimming in near total darkness. You can't see far. You rely on instinct, on small changes in the water, but suddenly something feels wrong. Pressure shifts, the water around you tightens, and before you understand why, you're already within reach. Because Camaraceras doesn't chase. It exists where escape becomes impossible. In that darkness, it just needs you to come close enough. Helicoprion, the mouth that shouldn't be real. Now imagine evolution going completely off script, creating something so strange. This is Helicoprion. At first, it sounds normal. A shark, but then you see it, a spiral of sharp teeth. A literal circular saw inside its mouth. For years, no one even understood how it functioned. But now we know that spiral acted like a cutting mechanism, pulling prey in and slicing it apart in a continuous motion. Imagine facing something like that in open water. Your brain can't process it, and while you hesitate, it moves. In this world, confusion is deadly. Helicoprion didn't just rely on strength. It relied on the fact that nothing like it should exist. Look at everything you've seen. Flying predators, ambush killers, creatures that crush, swallow whole, and don't even look real. And then ask yourself, what actually ruled this world? Was it dinosaurs, or was it something bigger? The truth is, this wasn't a world ruled by one species. It was a system, a balance of fear, where every creature, no matter how powerful, could still become prey. You wouldn't be thinking about dinosaurs. You'd be thinking about survival, every second, every step, every breath, because in that world there was no safe place, only different ways to die. If you were dropped into this world for just 24 hours, where would you go? The ocean, the forest, or nowhere at all? Because now you know the truth. It doesn't matter where you run. Something is already there, waiting.